know if maybe that's
Well, I'll reach out and see
Okay.
what they have to say. So I'm going to send
All
an
right.
email out to the committee. I was going to try by the end of the day, hopefully.
Well, that's two more than last year. So.
Well, true. Absolutely. So probably the 15th, but I'll send a note. Just watch for it.
Yeah.
I hope we'll be able to hear this. Maybe.
She doesn't pick up the microphone yet, and usually that's what.
Oh, that's what starts it.
Yep. Makes me feel better when there's other people online. Here we go. She's going to ring the bell.
Here we go. She got the hammer.
I left the bell on the table back there. So that was a bong. The Rotary Club, the meeting of the Rotary Club of Jamestown is now in order for November 6th, 2023. Thank you. So please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance and singing your neck. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem, and I'll try turning volume up. Hello, is that better? Is that better? How about online? Can you hear me? Thank you. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Oh, sheesh. Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proud? Broad stripes and bright stars. The ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets bursting the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the free? So let's repeat the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. Here's my bell. Very good. Thank you very much. So, is Mike Roberts here? Our invocation for today is by Mike Roberts. I'm going to try this other mic. The invocation.
Sue, I've never had anybody say, please turn it up before. All in our own belief, let us bow our heads before our Maker. Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for your blessings. We ask that you would heal the sick. We ask that you would be with us at our gathering. Let this be good and pleasing to you. We thank you for the bounty of food that you have made for us. And in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mike. And Marion Beckerink, do you have visiting Rotarians and guests?
Can you hear better now, Sue? Great. Okay, well, we have a bounty of guests today, and we are very pleased to welcome a fellow Rotarian. And I know you're eating, Lisa, but I would ask you to stand just so everybody knows where you are. Lisa Schmidt-Frederick Miller. I am proud to welcome one of my guests, Zena Porkland, who is an accountant formerly with Saxton and now working with a firm in Buffalo. So welcome, Zena. Yeah. We are also pleased to welcome back Zach Agate, a guest of Randy Sweeney. Thank you, Zach, for coming back. And last but certainly not least, we have a new guest, courtesy of John Healy and Libby Martin. If you can stand, she is working in staffing down the street, business development. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I don't know, I'm doing something wrong today with the microphone. So I'll keep working on it. Okay, first of all, I want to, and I think you will all join me in thanking Emily Kama and the social committee for the wonderful event we had on the 30th. Yeah. We had about 50 people, between 50 and 60 people, and some kids there, and some wonderful crafts. And so it was a great time by all. Thank you. Let's see. This one. Another huge thanks to the communications committee, Sue Jones, and all the communications committee for everything that you do. Really appreciate all the publicity that we get and what's coming out. Membership. We've been talking a little bit about the fact that even though we no longer have a formal 60% requirement for membership, for you to be attendance, we do want people to be involved in Rotary. This is an organization that provides service, and so we can't do service without you, each of you. So please think about ways you can serve on the committees, auction committee, but also attending. You get to know people, you get to know more about what's going on in the community. I just really hope you will all continue to work on attendance. And another side of that is one of the issues that we've had along the way is with our meals and with our people have had issues with. So I'm putting together a committee to look at lunch meals here with the Rotary, Monday meals. We need someone to step up to the plate to be chair of that committee. We have a contract with Doubletree that goes through this year, but it is over December 31st. So if we want to have different menus, we need to know what we want to have by then. If we want to investigate other options, I'm really looking forward to having someone really delve into this and come up with the best solution. So please see me. David Troxel, do you have an announcement? Sure. Okay. We are really excited to say that our Bike for School program, we've met our goals. The foundation, the fund, David, see, he's going to do a much better job now.
I'm going to step on your lines. Okay, yeah, this turned out to be great. We actually exceeded our goal of $3,000 for bicycles. I just sent an email this morning to Abe Jacobson, who's the president down in Singapore, and I'm making a list of all of the individual donors from this club that got involved, in addition to the money that we got from the Vision Committee. And we need a club logo. Is there somebody that I'll need to get with somebody and give us the club logo, because 50 of those bicycles will have Rotary Club of Jamestown on it, and then donors list. Great, thank you. And I'm sorry about trying to get some better photos of that for the newsletter. I don't seem to be able to come up with any, but I'll work on it, okay? Anyway, all of you that participated either as a club, through the Vision Committee, or individually, thank you so much. This is going to be a wonderful event, and I'll make sure you get lots of pictures of the distribution on the 17th of January. Thanks.
Thank you so much to Marissa and Dave for bringing that wonderful project to us. Vince Horgan has some auction update.
So the auction leadership team met last week, and we have, thanks to Joelle Washer and Sue Jones, we have updated our solicitation letter. Remember, your job is to get items and bidders, and this solicitation letter goes after items and sponsorships. So I emailed that to all of you, so you have it electronically, and also there's a reminder on your table. It is May 18th. We've got a lot of great energy. This is going to be an outstanding event, and I just want to say, if you haven't been asked yet, you'll be asked to serve in some way. Welcome to the auction committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the auction committee. They're really doing a bang up job and giving us the lead time we need to make this a really wonderful event and get everybody moving in the same direction. Thank you so much. Are there any additional announcement from the committee chairs? I did put a lot of information in the program about reminders of events coming up. There's the global, there's the DEI committee meeting by Zoom tomorrow. There's the Global Day at JCC. We need volunteers for that. You get with Marion on that. And that's on the 15th. And on the 18th and 19th, I don't know, Sherry, if you have anything you want to say about our wonderful weekend. We have an overnight of exchange students from elsewhere that have come into our district, 10 of them, and we're looking forward to it. Take it away, Sherry.
Okay, we do have 10.
Oh, but we don't have
outbounds.
any sound for Sherry. I don't know why that is. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
She's not muted.
Nope. Maybe I
know.
was working before.
Don't have sound for Sherry. We could hear her earlier.
Can you hear me now?
Still everything the same.
Okay,
Sorry, we
All right.
talked to Sherry before the meeting.
don't worry.
So we'll send out an email. So, Sue, we have a birthday table. Sue Jones, would you like to introduce your birthday table?
Okay, how many of you have had some inkling of what the Rotary Foundation does? How many of you don't know anything about it? I'm going to tell you today a little bit about it, which I think is really exciting. Every donation that you make to the Rotary Foundation, a part of it comes back to our district, 7090, for us to use for district grants here close to home. It seems kind of hard to think about Rotary International and all of their grants, which many of them are quite large. The ones here at the district level are smaller, and the district knows us and knows what we can do and is just sitting there waiting to read our grants and help us out by sending money back to us. So every dollar that you give now, in 3 years, fortunately, comes back to the district and is just sitting there waiting to be parsed out. And why I'm talking about this is because November is Foundation Month. In, less than 6 weeks, Greg, we're headed to Mexico, Puerto Vallarta. And we have been approached, well, one of our friends down in Puerto Vallarta spends 3 of his days during 3 months period dispensing water filters in the mountains above Puerto Vallarta. Now, when I say in the mountains, I mean in the mountains where these people cart water for miles trying to get clean water. And in the last month, Puerto Vallarta has been hit by 2 Category 4 and 5 hurricanes that just decimated parts of these mountain villages. So I know that this water filter distribution, which encompasses at least 14 Rotary clubs in our country who've all married together and put forth $1,500, $5,000, whatever, to buy water filters, is going to a very, very worthwhile project. In fact, our own vision committee is considering making a donation to that project as well. And 3 days, 1 day in January, 1 day in February, and 1 day in March, they go up, Rotarians from all over this part of Western New York and Ohio, come down to Puerto Vallarta and participate in the distribution. Hopefully, the Joneses will be well enough this year to participate in at least one of those distributions and bring back some photographs and show you what life is all about in the mountains in Puerto Vallarta, where Rotary is hard at work helping. And part of that is your dollars at work. So think of it. When you go through Tim Hortons line and you have a great big coffee mocha floca, if you skip one during the week, put that money in a jar, and at the end of the year, you'll have a wonderful contribution to the Rotary Foundation. And that's what today is all about. When we honor our birthday celebrants, they have agreed to participate and donate money, either the amount of their age in years, in dollars, or many of them are members of the Paul Harris Sustaining Club, and they donate $100 a year towards Rotary Foundation. So we're going to thank them, but I also want you to think about the end of the year when we're hit up for donations to everywhere. $100 to the Rotary Foundation will go miles and miles and miles, and some of those miles are all the way to Puerto Vallarta. And in addition to handing out all of these water filters, that group of Rotarians will be participating in visiting the children of the dump. And this is literally the children of the dump. The dump in Puerto Vallarta is just piled high with old clothes and all that. And there are little children that live there, and they go through that stuff every day. And that's how they live. And hopefully we will have some ways of helping these children come forth in the near future. Okay, now, this month, we only have 3 birthdays. And number 1 is Deb Kathman. Deb's birthday. Deb's birthday was November 3rd. And thank you very much, Deborah, for updating your page. Deb is retired. She was the executive director of Striders in Jamestown. She attended Mercyhurst College. She's a member of the Paul Harris Sustaining Club, and her dear father, Doug Benson, was her sponsor here. Happy birthday, Deb. I forgot, she's got 10 grandchildren, 3 sons and 10 grandchildren. They're going to have a riot at her house for Christmas. Melissa Myers is not here today, but her birthday is the 22nd of November. She lives in Bemis Point, and she is the owner artist of White Porch Studios, fantastic artist. She attended JCC and Buff State College. She's a Paul Harris Sustaining Club member. She comes to us via the Olean Club, I believe. Yep, where she held several offices. She lives across the street from Vince Horgan, so naturally she said, yes, I will join Rotary. And again, her birthday is the 22nd of November. And last but not least, on the 23rd of November, Michael G. Roberts will celebrate his birthday. His birthday, let's see, he's president of Allied Alarm Services on Allen Street Extension. He attended Wright State University. He's a member of the Paul Harris Sustaining Club. And let's see, he was president in 2001, and he was nominated for or sponsored for membership by good old Harry Nicholson from Tennessee, is it? Kentucky. I should have known with the bourbon, huh? And of course, he is the biggest The Ohio State University fan I have ever met. Happy birthday to the three of you. And let's see. Oh, I don't want. Let's do it. Happy birthday to the turkeys. Okay. Happy birthday to you. And today's winner of a free lunch is Deb Kathleen.
Thank you so much, Sue. And now, if I could ask Walt Pickett to come up with the 50-50 drawing.
The 50-50 today is we decided that the odd buck would be in favor of the winner. So the winner is $43. And who will we have? Who's our guest? Okay. They're all red tickets, so just pick one. Read out the last three numbers. 1871. Hey, Marion is the winner. I have the money on my tape. Right back.
Good afternoon. I have 4 people worthy of note today, especially 3 of which are not here. Excuse me. I think Amy is, though. I don't know if she got recognized for the Wegmans golf outing that Chautauqua Golf Course that raised $19,000. Whoa. I see you hiding behind a pillar there, Amy. Okay. Oh. Good job. Good job. And you want to say anything about curling?
Please come curl. That's what I'll say. There's a flyer on your table. You can text UW Curling to 41444. Have a team. It's Friday, November 17th. You do not have to know how to curl. We will teach you how to curl. There'll be food and a cash bar, and it'll be a great time for United Way.
Thank you, Amy. So this needs to be Sports Monday because I'm sure everyone in the room will want to contribute for one reason or another for their favorite team or whatever. I mean, if you happen to live in Frewsburg, the 8-man football team became first of section, right? I see a smile here. And the ladies in Frewsburg won Far West Regional Class C. So Frewsburg school system did good. Southwestern, we have people in Southwestern. The ladies won Class B2. And the boys won C2 cross country. We must have some Southwestern residents in the room. Maple Grove, well, I think we have a board member, but Maple Grove boys, Class D cross country title. We probably have other Maple Grove residents. And Chautauqua Lake ladies volleyball were section champs. So that's all pretty good. And then I see a person walking up the room that reminds me that Mount Union did good last weekend. And as did Cortland and Michigan and Alfred State, Baldwin Wallace, must be somebody here, Ohio Northern, Case Western, North Park. Is there anyone that I've forgotten, Mike? Any college team that did okay? So thank you one and all. And Ruth, time for some happy bucks, eh?
My brother coaches the soccer team at Alfred State, and they're going to the NCAA tournament this week.
So I'm reading the county executive's Monday morning memo. And there's an article there that says for older New Yorkers, day 2023, the New York State Office for the Aging presented this person with the Governor Hochul's 2023 Exemplary Volunteer Service Award for his 45 years of volunteering. And that is Mr. Baseball Russ Dietrich. Congratulations.
So Mike mentioned a few weeks ago that my son plays soccer for the Southwestern soccer team. And when they started their season out, their primary goal was to win their league title. And they did. And they talked about maybe getting to sectionals, but they knew that trying to win sectionals was going to be a long shot. So they did make it all the way to the sectional championship. They were playing Lafayette, which is an international school up in Buffalo. They get to recruit their soccer players from all over the world. Last year, they thumped us. This year, they came out and scored 2 goals in the first half, and it looked like things were just going to end the way they did last year. And then in the second half, our coach put in one of our new players, Joaquin. And he went in the second half and played some of the best soccer I've ever seen, scored 2 goals, tied the game. We went into double overtime, and they won. They won the sectional title.
All right. So I actually have 2 happy bucks. First is shout out to Amy Roller. I went to her seminar that she and the United Way put on for ALICE families that she was talking about last week. For those of you that don't know, ALICE stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed. And it really talks about what people in our area, Chautauqua County, are dealing with financially. Growing up in Jamestown, I always thought I had a good grip on what was going on, mainly because a lot of my friends experienced it. So it's stuff I would talk about with them. But to see the statistics and go over it was pretty eye-opening. And it's pretty easy. It's only an hour and a half. So if you care about the area, you want to learn some more, I encourage you to do that. And my last happy buck, it's on most of the tables here. Some of you heard about it, others don't know what it is, and the rest of you are probably sick of hearing about it. So this is our mini golf bar crawl. Be December 9th, the day right before our Christmas party, the same day. We're going to start at Northwest Arena. There's going to be 5 holes set up, 1 at Northwest Arena, 1 at the pub, 1 at Shawbucks, 1 at Brazil, and 1 at the Beer Snob. Please come out. We need teams of 4, $80 per team. And I've been in talks with Frank Bessie at the Renaissance Corporation. He's been trying to get an event like this started downtown for a few years now. So if we're successful, he will give businesses money next year to build their own holes and make this a premier downtown event with Rotary sponsoring it. So come out and support.
I'm up here for Sally. Sally's donating 5 happy bucks because Sally's always happy, and welcome her back after a knee surgery. And I also just wanted to, some of you may have seen this when you came in, but the Love School LEAP program, just wanted to thank everybody that volunteered this year at LEAP. So it's cute with all their pictures and all the fun they had. So thank you.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Where is meeny, meeny? Well, thank you very much for bringing up that rumor that they started in New York and Albany just the other day. And there is, as hard as they work to make it right, there is a mistake, because it was not the one that they said was the one. It's the others that are the one. there's never a thing that I've ever got involved in that there wasn't a group of other people and other volunteers who stepped forward many, many times. And many of them stepped forward after reaching deeply in their pocket to make things go and work. And that's what has happened in my life. I've walked a mile. There's people walked 10 miles. I walked 10 miles. There's people who's walked 100 miles. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing to be part of that and to have that recognition because of the folks at the Office for the Aging here at Chautauqua County. Put a story together, and it was not proofread, and it ended up in the hands of the committee. They had 91 letters they had to read and decide. And they probably, when they got very, very tired, missed lunch, missed the break after lunch. It was time for supper. Somebody said, "Oh, gee, eeny, meeny, miny, moe," and they pulled one out of the pile. So, but thank you. My thank yous go to God and to all of his work and all of his efforts and all of the people. And to each and every one of you, would everybody in the room stand up, please? Do that for me, if it's possible. God, look upon your team. Look upon your children. And may I give them a hand. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I found this laying on the floor, and it looks like a counterfeit $20 bill, so I'm not going to monkey around with it, so you can have that.
Thank you so much. Thanks for all your happy bucks.
Not as exciting as what Russ said, but I just wanted to thank the RCJCSF Board of Directors who have worked tirelessly over the past few months to create a conflict of interest policy that will give more transparency to the work that we do. And we're also working on a new mission statement that will help invigorate our fundraising for our upcoming auction, and know that people who donate money to RCJCSF are donating it to a very worthy cause. And so thank you, and I'll put half my winnings in the bucket. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marion. Okay, it is my pleasure, as soon as I figure out how to use the mic, to bring Tori Eargang up to introduce our speaker, Josiah.
So when you work at the Chautauqua Region Community Foundation, you get to know about a lot of really interesting and meaningful projects. And when you also serve on the program committee, sometimes you could bring those things together. And this project, the Women's Shelter in Jamestown, is one of those examples of where what I learned about in my job, I could bring forward to Rotary. So it's my pleasure to introduce Josiah Lamp, who is the Director of Housing and Community Development at Chautauqua Opportunities. Chautauqua Opportunities, many of us are familiar with their work, but their mission is to fight poverty by empowering people to build assets and reach economic independence. Josiah directs a lot of programs, I know that, but they range from homelessness prevention to home ownership to housing rehabilitation. He serves as the president of the Homeless Coalition for Chautauqua County, and he's the president of the board of directors for the New York State Rural Housing Coalition. I don't know what that is, but it sounds very important. He has 15 years of experience in nonprofit management, and we were chatting about the fact that we have worked together now for at least 12 years, we think, and is a great example of why in this community you should never burn a bridge with anyone, because you never know how your paths will continue to cross with them. Josiah has a bachelor's degree from Wheaton College, a master's degree in community development and planning from Clark University. He lives in Fredonia, but in the Jamestown area, we like him very, very much, with his wife, Erin, and their 3 children. Josiah.
Thank you, Tori. And thank you all for the invitation to be here and to share about our project. You know, normally when I talk, I like to start with a joke, but that can be a little bit difficult when you're talking about something as heavy as homelessness. So I'm going to refrain from doing that. But what I do want to talk about is throughout this is hope, because even though we do work, is that better? Yeah, even though we do work with some heavy situations, we do so with hope. And that's actually the reason why we have named our new shelter project Hope Haven. And it's no longer the women's shelter, it's Hope Haven. So I want to start by sharing a brief story here about a woman that we met a couple years ago. And she was living in the woods when one of our outreach workers went to meet with her. They found her in the woods. She had been struggling with addiction. She was unfortunately in a difficult relationship. And her boyfriend would, when he was angry with her, would drop her off in the woods. And okay. And so it happened to be the weekend when we went out to see her. The social services wasn't open at that time. We tried to get her into the Salvation Army. They didn't have any room at the Salvation Army. And and she had to stay out in the woods for a couple nights. And then on Tuesday, we were able to get her into the motels, which are where a lot of the homeless families or individuals stay. And we're able to serve her. But it really broke our hearts as people who work in the homeless field to have somebody living out in the elements and not being able to provide shelter for that person at that particular time. So to give you a little context, when I started at COI, we were asked to put together a 10-year plan to address homelessness. And we identified at that time that the lack of a shelter for women was one of the key things that our community needed. And for a while, we were asking the community who would like to step up. You know, we facilitate the Homeless Coalition. Are there other organizations who would like to step up? And it finally came to us that if anyone was going to do it, that we would need to do it. So we did, about 4 years ago, decide that we would be moving forward with trying to find funding for a women's shelter. And you can see in 2018, there were 1,100. We're passing out a sheet here with some statistics. There are 1,143 homeless individuals or people who are at risk of homelessness. That has gone up to 1,487 in 2022. And I think this year is trending even higher. I don't have that data here. But what I highlighted there was that the number of people who are increasing the most are women, are adult women. And that was 171 in 2018. Which is now 239 as of 2022. And at the same time, you know, men was about even. And I think we have services in our community through the UCAN City Mission for men, but we do not have that shelter service here in Jamestown or in Chautauqua County for women. And that's one of the reasons why those numbers continue to go up, because without services, that can be what happened. So that was really the vision for our project, was how do we bring this new service to our community? And so we were funded in 2022 from New York State Homeless Housing Assistance Corporation for the Hope Haven project. And this is the building. It's down on Lafayette Street near 3rd Street. You may be familiar with it. There was a laundromat in that building on the 1st floor for many years and apartments above it. And we're not doing too much to the outside of the building. It's structurally very sound, but we're doing a complete gut rehab to that building. It's going to look more like this when it's completed. We're putting the windows and the units on the other side of the building. On the 1st floor, there's going to be a community room. There's going to be an entryway, a safe entrance there. There's going to be offices for our staff to work in the building, and then conference room to provide services there. And then the 2nd and 3rd floor, there will be housing with 6 units on each floor to house up to 18 women at a time. This is the layout of the 2nd and 3rd floor. They're small units. On the 2nd floor, there's 1 bedroom. Well, they're all 1 bedroom, but there's room on the 3rd floor for 2 women per room. And so some of the features, that each room will be private, they will be secure, they'll have a bathroom, a kitchenette, and a living space for the household. And then downstairs, we'll have the community room where people can gather, socialize. We'll have a computer resource library so that folks who are able to look for jobs or look for housing, connect with their service workers, and the laundry room as well. We'll have staff there 24/7, and it will be, safety. There'll be a lot of safety features with programmable. Actually, we had to remove that, unfortunately. But it'll be a locked facility and with a sprinkler system. You may be aware that right now in our community, where most of the homeless population is housed are in the motels. And a lot of times the motels are outside of the city center. And so it's very difficult for those who are unhoused to be able to get to their service appointments, to be able to get to look for housing. The things that they're supposed to be doing, it becomes almost a full-time job just to find transportation to get to everything that they have. And so it's hard for them to be as successful as we would like them to be. And also, you probably heard that the Colony Motel recently, that there were 12 households who were homeless in the motel when that burned down. And luckily, everybody made it out safely. But that was already a difficult situation, and I'm sure it's very traumatic. We know it's very traumatic for those who are in that situation. So safety, this will be a safe facility for fire code as well as for other reasons. And we'll be able to provide the services right there in the building because we have staff who are already hired to provide those services. We can locate them in the building. They can meet regularly. They don't have to take the bus to get to the building. So we know that we're going to have more success working with our customers because of that. It's also very close walking distance to the Department of Social Services, Chautauqua Works. We have a partnership with them. Everyone who's homeless has the opportunity to work with Chautauqua Works. So really excited to see that come to fruition. Right now, we're in the middle of the project. So as I said, we received funding in 2022. We did not have a construction partner at that time. And in fact, the application that we put in was in 2020. So this is a difficult part of the story, but also a really, really amazing part of the story. So we put in that application in 2020. And if you know, with the pandemic, what happened? All the prices went up. So the cost of construction went up astronomically between 2020 and 2022 when we went out to bid. And when it came back, for bids, our bids were $1.3 million higher than the actual funding we had for the project. And so it was really in jeopardy at that point. We didn't know if we were going to be able to continue with this project. But we decided to move forward. We continued fundraising and what they call value engineering, which is to reduce some of the scope of what we were able to do in the building. And I'm happy to say that through the generosity of many local funders, we have raised $1 million to continue the project. And all of the original money that we need to do the construction has been raised. And we are going to be going to contract with our general contractor this week. That's where we've been. So yeah, it's very exciting. They'll be ordering some of the supplies, which will take a while to get in. So construction is planned for the spring with a grand opening for next winter. So that's where we are. I want to recognize some of the funders for our project. The main funder is the state's Homeless Housing Assistance Corporation, who have been good partners, but the city of Jamestown has been a partner throughout the whole process here. We're very grateful for them. And then at that point where the project was a little bit uncertain, it was the Chautauqua Region Community Foundation who stepped up and was the first money in, and we really appreciate their support as well. As well as the county land bank, and other private donors. So thank you to all of those donors. Our next steps for the Chautauqua County Homeless Coalition, we're looking at this winter. Obviously, we don't have this in place right now, and so trying to open a warming center. This time of year, there are more people who come in for services because it's so, the cold weather comes. And so we're working with the county and the Mental Health Association to hopefully open back up a warming center for the winter. For Hope Haven, we are continuing to fundraise. We had to take out some important things from that project, all the furniture and equipment. We had to take out some of the safety, the fob system, I mentioned that. We replaced that with just locks. So there's things we're continuing to fundraise for the shelter. And we're also just trying to raise awareness on homelessness in our community, because a lot of times people don't see it in our community, especially when you think of all the different communities. There's homeless people coming from every community in Chautauqua County. And so our next meeting of the Homeless Coalition is next Thursday, November 16th at 10 a.m. And we're doing it in person. We have been doing largely Zoom meetings, but next meeting will be at Prendergast Library. And so we want to invite anyone who's interested to come to our meeting to learn more about the issue and help spread the word. So that is what I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much. If you have any questions.
How long can I stay there?
So, the services are designed to be between 1 and 2 months, just enough time to help somebody get on their feet and move on. It's supposed to be short term. We know right now it's very difficult to find housing in Jamestown and Chautauqua County. So in some cases it's taking people longer, but we do think that it'll be shorter in shelter than it would be in the motels.
I thank you so much for what you do. We're lucky to have you here. When I look at the statistics, I see that the greatest diagnosis is mental health disorders. And of course, we've long been concerned about people that used to be in group homes and mental health areas where they could be given the whatever services they need. I wondered, are you currently getting state and federal funding for this group of folks? That's number one. And the second thing is, 5 years ago, my husband passed away. One of his things that he did was he used to collect toiletries from friends and associates for vets, and they'd put together little packages. I wonder if you do that, if you collect toiletries.
So to answer your second question, we aren't a shelter provider right now, so that's not something that we do. I do know that the UCAN City Mission and the other shelter providers, that's something that they do collect, and that's very helpful to them. To answer your first question about mental health, yes, absolutely. That so many of the folks that we work with who are in that situation are dealing with some sort of mental health diagnosis. And so there are specific nonprofits in our community like STEL and Recovery Options who work very closely with those who are chronically homeless and who have the most severe and persistent of those mental health diagnoses. They provide what they call permanent supportive housing, and we really need more of that. I mean, that's one of the key things we've come away with recently, is that there's not enough permanent supportive housing in our community. So many of the folks who have a lot of challenges are coming back to social services. We'll place them in a unit on their own, but they really are not able to stay there. And so they come back after 6 months, after a year. And we need more of that permanent housing with supports in place in order to help those folks.
Josh, if I might, how many of those people that you're talking about for the services and et cetera, how many of those are first, second, or third generations from Jamestown and Chautauqua County area?
Yeah, I don't know that we are able to capture that, but we do know that in many cases that poverty can be generational. And so, in some cases, that's part of their story. That everyone has a different story. And, I shared one story. There's plenty of people who we work with who come in and all they need is a little bit of help, just the right amount of financial assistance at the right time. And maybe a little crisis happened in their life, a relationship ended, or they lost a job or something, and they need a little help getting back on their feet. Other people have much more long-term challenges in their life. So it just depends on the situation.
Thank you very much for your presentation. A little bit of a follow-up on the data. This shows that there were 816 homeless in 2022. Is that 816 individuals, or and how many on average per month, or is that Can you give us some idea what that number means?
Yeah, so 816 is the number who are what we call literally homeless, who are either living on the streets or living in a shelter or a motel. The 1,487 includes those who are at risk of homelessness, so maybe going through the eviction process as well. But the 816 is in Chautauqua County for a year. That's the annual amount in Chautauqua County. I would say the majority of those are in the southern part of our county, in the Jamestown area. We see the most people coming in. At any given time, it fluctuates. You know, this time of year, there are more folks than there are in the summer who are in motels or in shelter. In the summer, there are more people who are living out, you know, by the riverside or in other parts in outside. I know recently, the last I heard was that Department of Social Services were working with about 75 households. So that'll give you a little picture.
And then a little bit of a follow-up question. In 2015, it showed that there were 4 people with mental health disorders. That went from 4 to 190. And then with those with developmental disabilities, or I'm sorry, physical disabilities, went from, you know, like 8 to 133. And those are huge increases. From your perspective, why the increase?
Well, some of that has to do with the data collection that we've been able to do. So I would say the first couple years here that we have listed, we did not have everybody entering in information into our data system. So we have built a lot more partnerships across the coalition to get more people involved in entering data. So some of that probably was much higher back in that time, but we're able to collect more accurately now. You'll see from 2017, 2018 on, it's much more consistent. And so we still see an increase in those mental health disorders. I think they've probably always been there, but we're able to have those conversations a little bit more frankly with folks, or people are disclosing that a little bit more. We're also seeing a lot more people who are coming back to us after working with them, you know, fewer who are first-time homeless and more people who are returning to us.
I'm sorry, I missed how many rooms were going to be built. How many?
So there'll be 12 rooms, but for up to 18 women at a time.
Okay. You mentioned that the increase was 1.3 million. Are you allowed to share with us the entire budget for the entire project?
It's about a $4 million project in total.
Are you allowed to share with us who the general contractor is?
I can. It's not a local company. Our partner is Hamilton Stern. They're based out of Rochester, but they are a big provider of affordable housing.
Thank you.
One last question.
Yeah, I'll make this quick. Homelessness is a problem, and it's becoming more and more pronounced, and it's a community responsibility. And one of the questions I would like to have you answer is, do we have any idea of how many of these people are from Jamestown and have Jamestown roots and have come from families in Jamestown and who are yet homeless, or how many of these people are from the outside just coming through town and just happen to end up here and need services?
Yeah, I would say the vast majority are local, and they're not always Jamestown itself, but Chautauqua County. The vast majority are Chautauqua County, and we have very few who are coming from we have some, but not a lot who are coming from outside the area.
Well, Josiah, thank you so much for sharing this information and for this important work you're doing. One of our Rotary's major international programs is to eradicate polio in the world. In honor and thanks for your presentation to our Rotary Club today, we will make a donation in your name that will vaccinate 4 children who will never then experience polio in their lives.
Thank you so much. That's
Thank you very
wonderful.
much. And just remember, our Rotary motto for this year is create hope in the world. Let's go out and do it. We are adjourned.